If you've been telling yourself you'll start when you can finally afford to move to LA, stop. Hollywood is not in one place anymore. The question isn't, should I move to LA? The question is, am I carving out enough time this week to make real progress on my dream, no matter what else is going on? Hey, I'm Nicki Micheaux. I'm an actor, writer, and filmmaker with 30 years in the industry. If you have always felt like you were creative and meant to create things, whether as an actor, a writer, or a director, but you took that job to pay the bills, but that dream is still there, this video is for you. I want to tell you about a filmmaker, Morgan Cooper. He was in Kansas City, living basically off making music videos. He decided to do a dramatic retelling of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He used his own money. He posted it on YouTube and it went viral. Now, I don't know exactly how long it took, but Will Smith came calling. So Cooper had an idea. He went out and made it. I don't even know if he had the legal right to take Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and create a whole new show from it, because I'm pretty sure this is all kind of illegal, but it worked. He got the attention of Will Smith and turned it into a hit TV show on Peacock from Kansas City. So here's my point. He had an idea, he bet on it, he made it from wherever he was. Here's the first point I want y'all to get from this. Everyone says get started, and that's what Morgan Cooper did. He got started. But the thing is, you got to write the story you want to tell. And maybe a lot of times when we're beginning, it's a story that's really close to our heart. It's a story about something that happened to us or happened in our family or something that really moved us. And I think that's great. It's a great place to start because everyone always says, write what you know. But it's also a tricky place to start because your instinct is going to be to want to stay as close to reality as what happened because you think that's what happened. That's real life. But you're making a movie now. You're making a short film. You're making a TV show. This is not real life. Reality. This is fiction. And when you go into telling a fictional story, you need to put some energy into ripping it away from the reality timeline and doing what's best dramatically. So how do you tell a good story? Couple basic things. You have a main character who wants something really, really bad. And they have to want something that all of us regular folks, your audience, can identify with. Meaning it has to be a universal human need. Like, I want to be loved. That's Stella Got Her Groove Back. Okay. I want to kill the people who took my daughter. I want revenge. That's Taken. Something we all get. So in your story, whatever it is, what does your main character want and what's in their way? And then you can do this as a short. You can do this as a vertical drama and have some fun with it. Vertical dramas are pretty elevated. It's an elevated format. So when you decide to do something as a 60-second, 90-second episode, just know, elevate everything. The stakes are super, super high. Soap opera, telenovela, go in that direction. Now, what Morgan Cooper did was take a reboot idea for Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and made a short film or a pilot presentation. What he did was a complete retelling. He didn't even come up with a story. He took one. Now, I don't know if we can do that legally, but I would hesitate. I'm not trying to tell you to do that. But what stories can you take? Fairy tales, folk tales, Greek mythology, African folk tales, the story your family passes down from generation to generation. Can you dramatize any of that? Voodoo tales. What's a good story? And usually a good way to know if something is a good story that you want to tell is, what's the one thing that's been sticking with you the longest that you feel like, I got to write this. I got to write this. And also, is this something you want to see? Now, you might have a lot of resistance when it comes to this. And a lot of it's because when we start exposing ourselves with ideas that are personal to us, we run into resistance because now you're talking about being vulnerable in public. Even if it's just writing it down on paper and giving it to someone else to read, that can be massively vulnerable. But you need to push past that. Whether you give it to your friends or you join a community of other creatives like the one that I have and you let other people read it, it just has to come outside of your laptop. It has to get out of your head, out of your four walls. You have to connect with other artists and creatives to get feedback on your work somehow, some way. That's part of how you get to understanding not only what story you want to tell, but how to tell it. And then you want to make it good. That's my next point. Make something really good. Trailers, sizzles, proof of concepts, presentations. These are all short things you can make for your project idea. But if it's bad, no one cares. If you can't make something good to show your idea, for the love of God, just make a pitch deck and have a really good script. Those are more manageable sometimes. But if you do want to do something more visual, like you want to go out and create a short film, a vertical or anything and put it up on YouTube, try your best to make it good. So let's talk about, what does that actually mean? Well, let's talk about it in terms of a short film. And I think the first thing with short is you want to think about your ending. Some of the things that you might be doing is not thinking about your ending. Maybe you think that This is really interesting, the story I want to tell, but maybe you haven't worked through the ending. The ending is the thing that makes it worth watching. If you don't have a good ending, people don't care. You don't leave them with anything. You have to take the audience somewhere. There's a beginning and then the ending. The middle's important too. It's all important. But in short films, especially the ending, that twist is so important. That makes the audience sit and go, ah, I didn't see that coming. So figure that part out first. The second thing, what's your genre? Know your genre. Know what world you're in. If you're making a horror short film, that's very different from making a drama short. Very different thing. Very different audience. If you make a horror short and drop it on YouTube, you might have a lot more traction than making a drama short. Horror has a big audience. Horror, thriller, action, that stuff is always big. Now, if you want to make action, that can be a lot. It's very ambitious. So is doing sci-fi. This is why a lot of emerging filmmakers do horror. The barrier to entry is lower. People love horror. They're also used to seeing, low budget filmmaking with horror, and they're very, very forgiving with the budget constraints in a horror film. But no matter what genre you choose, think about what's the audience's appetite for that genre. Find really good shorts in your genre and think which ones are like yours. Look at the structure, the beats, the opening, the twist. Get inspired. Make it your own. You don't have to recreate the wheel. You need to be able to recognize that's a good wheel. Oh, that one's kind of crappy. So that when you're sitting in front of your laptop and you're looking at the cut, you need to be able to tell the difference because you've trained your eye to understand what makes a good story. And here's my third point. Train your eye. The biggest thing I would say about making something really good is you must train your eye to know what good is. And that only comes from watching films, TV shows, reading scripts, reading novels, watching and reading the good stuff. You have to be a student of film. Quentin Tarantino worked in a video store. That was his film school. Many actors who go on to directors, they've been on sets for years. That's their film school. So most of you guys, if you're switching careers, you don't have time to go to film school, but you can watch film. You can watch the commentary breakdown. So moving to LA doesn't magically make you know what's good. Okay, it makes no sense. You need to take the time to watch and study film and TV. And there's so much of it everywhere. Top 10 lists, what's getting nominated. Find out what you like. Find what speaks to you. And see, how does this translate into my work? The biggest thing you can do is to be able to look at something and recognize what's working, what's not working. Otherwise, you may put a whole film together and have no idea why it doesn't work. But only you can do that. There's no sense practicing making bad films. Read scripts, watch films, watch TV shows. That's where you learn what's good. And then copy, because the copying is you practicing and building the muscles to do this yourself. And then as you do that, you start to go, oh, what if I did it this way? Instead of going left, I could go right. I could go up. I could go down. And you start to find your voice. But first, you got to learn to speak the language. And if you have the budget for your trailer, your sizzle, or anything you're doing, hire a good editor. Editors are such a key part of making a good story. It's an art unto itself. And so the best ideas in the world can literally be killed by a bad cut. But there's no replacement for time, guys. Time, practice, and iteration. So you don't have to move to LA. You have to come up with a story and then you have to make it, but make it good. And if you want help getting started with something like vertical dramas, like get my free vertical drama guide. The link is right there in the description.